welcome back to Bad Boss Detox. Few people strike terror in the hearts of restaurateurs, aspiring chefs, and people who have fallen asleep watching reality TV quite like Gordon Ramsay. But for some reason, your mom is incredibly attracted to him. I mean, the accent never hurts, but I don't get it. This week, we will take a closer look at this intimidating celebrity chef. Is he really as terrible of a boss as he seems? Or is it just tough love? And swearing. Lots of swearing. Let's talk about it.
It's me. I'm your mom.
I wondered about that. That was going to be my first question was, are you one of those ladies that's super
I
attracted
don't know
to
about
Gordon Ramsay?
attracted to, if I was just looking at him, but yes, not just on appearance, but I'd hit that.
I would not judge you for hitting that. I don't think I would.
I love him. I love him. And this whole thing was, because we saw him on that list.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what made us want to talk about Gordon Ramsay?
Well, like I just said, when we started this podcast, we were looking for bad bosses in history or elsewhere. We were looking for stuff about bad bosses we could talk about. And we found that 2010 Time magazine article where Gordon was number 6 of the top 10 worst bosses. And the clip they showed was a scene from a show called Boiling Point. And he was pissy and he cursed and he insulted and, he kind of was an asshat. But as the article put it, he was probably playing it up for the camera. So here is Time Magazine's complete list from 2010. It makes me want to sing, "One of these things is not like the others."
When we saw him on the list, both of us were like,
yeah,
what?
why?
No,
Why?
him.
Yeah, no, he's fabulous.
Okay, so in order, I'm assuming, the title of the article is Workplace Users and Abusers. Number 1 is George fucking Pullman, who, if you don't know about him, please go back and listen to, what is it, episode 2? Where we talk about George Pullman.
I don't know.
And
I
train
feel
cars?
like it might have been episode 1.
I think it's episode
Was it
2?
2?
Marge Schott. Schott was the CEO and president of the Cincinnati Reds from 1984 to 1999. And during that time, she alienated many employees with her reported slurs against African Americans, homosexuals, and Asians. Sounds like a bitch to me.
I don't understand. Just those 3?
How do you stay employed?
Why
with
stop
that?
there?
Just be all-inclusive racist, I guess. Next is Jeff Skilling, former CEO of Enron. He was convicted of 18 separate counts of fraud, insider trading, and lying to employees, investors, and the government about faulty accounting practices that led directly to the company's collapse at the end of 2001. I kind of remember that. That's the year I graduated high school. I was not focused on Enron.
Yeah, I remember the Enron scandal, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Number 4, Max Blanc and Isaac Harris. Again, go back to episode 2, the same episode we talked about George Pullman in, and find out how they managed to kill 146 of their employees.
Just
awful.
So
awful. George Steinbrenner, the owner of the New York Yankees, looks like he didn't let anyone have facial hair. What?
Which is absurd and stupid. But I actually loved his character on Seinfeld, and I couldn't decide who was worse, him or George Costanza. So it was kind of just like, we'll just let them fight it out. Yeah.
And number 6, Gordon Ramsay. Why? Why? When Naomi Campbell, who is number 7, apparently throws her phone at people, and I'm just like, so what? And then there's Leona Helmsley. We talked about her a couple of episodes ago. She's the only the little people pay taxes lady.
Yeah.
Left everything to her dog, right? Her fortune. Wonder how he's doing now. Al Dunlop. Dunlop wrote a best-selling manifesto titled Mean Business. But making a career out of business brutality would prove his undoing.
And I didn't know who he was, so I had to look him up.
His nickname was Chainsaw Al and Rambo in pinstripes.
That is an image.
I know, right? After he posed for a photo wearing an ammo belt across his chest. It was later discovered that his reputed turnarounds were elaborate frauds, and his career was ended after he engineered a massive accounting scandal at Sunbeam Products that forced the company into bankruptcy. And Sunbeam had such a happy little logo. That little blonde chick, wasn't she?
Yeah. Wait, was that okay, I was confused. Sunbeam is bread,
Yeah.
I thought. But also, isn't it like appliances? Are they two different companies?
I don't know. Sunbeam
I think they're two different
Appliances.
companies.
I don't know which one
Yeah.
he's from. Sunbeam Appliances or Sunbeam?
Either way, it reminds me of another recent bad boss who's been in the news wielding a chainsaw, but that's all I'll say.
And Chainsaw Al. And lastly, we have John H. Patterson. He is known as a control freak who tried to impose his obsession with cleanliness and healthiness on his employees, mandating that they take showers on company time and restricting certain types of food from being served in some company dining rooms. I don't know. I'd kind of like it if my boss said, go take a shower. I'd be like, okay.
Yeah,
right?
that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, yeah.
Okay. If I could just... Also, as Portfolio.com wrote, Patterson liked to fire and then rehire executives just to break their self-esteem. In one famous tale, Patterson fired a sales executive, Thomas Watson, who was later the head of IBM, by leaving his desk on the lawn for Watson to discover upon his return to the office. Now, come on, in the land of Instagram posts, that would be rad. You would definitely go viral if you went to work and your desk was sitting outside.
Yeah. But like, these are the type of things that get you on this list, right?
Yeah.
So what is Gordon Ramsay doing there?
Yeah.
Like, he definitely stuck out to me as like, yeah, he might be kind of an egomaniac chef who yells, but like, come on. Does he fire people just to break their soul? No.
And he doesn't throw anything directly at you. He might take your plate and throw it across the room, but he's not throwing it directly at you, at least not on TV.
No. So, what made Gordon Ramsay into the alleged asshat that people claim he is? Let's talk about his early life. And you're the one who's been reading his book, so I'm going to let you take this one.
I listened to Gordon's first autobiography, which was written almost 20 years ago in 2006. So a lot has happened since then, but I was into it maybe 8 minutes before I was almost in tears. His upbringing, his childhood was sad. He was poor, and his father was a jerk. Gordon Sr. was a mean, abusive, drunken womanizer. He married Gordon's mom when she was just 17, and the abuse started soon after. And the poor woman, being only a teenager, just thought, this just must be how husbands are.
Yeah, it makes you wonder why women are encouraged to marry so young in cultures that breed abuse.
Yeah, I mean, we have to be better examples for our children so they can grow up and be better examples for their children. Anyway, they had to move around a lot because Gordon's dad could not keep a job. He would get hired at a job, and then he would ultimately, he'd get hired, and then they'd give him a house. The housing stuff in the UK is weird to me. Like, there's a council that will give you a house if you don't have one. I've read about it in Boy George's book also, although he's from Ireland. So either his job would give them a house to live in while he was employed, or they would go to the council, whatever the hell that is, and they would give them a house. So he would get a job working, and I don't even remember any of the examples, but he would get a job working somewhere, and then he would get drunk, and then he would get into a fist fight with the boss, get fired, and you don't work here anymore, you don't live here anymore, so get out. So their jobs came with the house, or the house came with the jobs, and so they moved around a lot. Gordon said he did what he was told. He kept his head down. He didn't start any trouble. He didn't want to try to defend his mom until he was big enough to do so, because it would just make it worse. So just before he turned 16, he said, you know what, fuck it. And he basically told his dad to piss off. He said, I'm a week away from 16. So that's when he stood up for himself. And I had to look it up because I was like, 16, what does that have to do with being able to tell your dad?
That's like when you become a legal
yes,
adult in
the
UK.
age of consent in the UK is 16.
That's
Yes.
young.
16.
Okay.
18 is their legal drinking age. 16 is their age
Okay.
of consent. So, I mean, I was
Wow.
kind of taken aback by that because I don't
Yeah.
want
Today
my
I learned.
16-year-old to be able to, go date a 34-year-old and it be legal. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's the way it would be. His first mentor was Marco Pierre White of Harvey's in London. Marco was volatile and mean, but even his longtime mentor, Joël Robuchon, once threw a plate of ravioli at Gordon. Apparently, chefs are a pretty volatile bunch. Gordon once said, chefs are nutters. They're all self-obsessed, delicate, dainty, insecure little souls and absolute psychopaths. Every last one of them. So maybe that's some insight into why Gordon's the way he is, because he's an absolute psychopath.
I don't know. I don't know very many chefs personally, but there sure are a lot of crazy ones on Below Deck.
No, I think there's a lot of crazy ones in general. Just from reading this book, they throw their food around a lot.
Have you seen The Bear?
No.
I mean, it's really good. Everyone should watch that show. But it's about a really fancy restaurant that wants to get a Michelin star, and it's like their head chef is also kind of crazy. So,
well, my husband worked in restaurants, and I know for a fact that at least 2 of the chefs in the restaurants that he worked at really liked cocaine, and cocaine will lead to dramatic outbursts. Gordon Ramsay does not like drugs. His brother is a heroin addict, and one of his best friends who was working with him died from his drug addiction. So he is, I'm absolutely positive, not coked up. He's just high strung. Naturally.
Yeah. Okay. So apparently chefs are more dramatic than theater kids, and that's a pretty high bar. But some dramatic directors as well, but I don't think anyone's ever thrown a plate of ravioli at me.
Well, my high school drama teacher, he threw a chair across the room more than once in drama, and also busted a blood vessel in his eye because he was screaming at us so much. But love that man for always. So Gordon was not always a chef. He actually was on his way to being a professional footballer, as they call football players over there. He actually thought he might finally earn his dad's love and respect, which is really sad. He played football. He was really good at football, and he was signed onto the Rangers football club at like 14, 15 years old. But he ultimately hurt himself too badly to continue. And instead of, being gentle and kind and consoling, his father accused him of exaggerating his injuries.
That really sucks.
Yeah.
So initially on the outline when you were writing this, for this bullet point, it just said football.
I know.
And my response was like, okay, I believe it. Not to generalize, but in my experience, teaching students who are on sports teams, a lot of sports teams did and do tend to be hyper-masculine environments with little support for expressing emotions other than, rage. So, yeah. And I asked Sean about this because he was a wrestler in high school. And he was like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
It's not really an environment necessarily where you are supported emotionally. I'm not saying there's not good coaches out there, but I think that they may be the exception and not the rule. Yeah.
Well, Gordon has done very well for himself coming from a really poor background. He has written 26 books. He has appeared on 50 TV shows, roughly, including The Simpsons and the sitcom New Girl. He has hosted at least 15 reality-type cooking food shows, and he even appeared in the 2017 Smurfs movie.
That's how you know you've
right?
made it.
If you're in the Smurfs movie, he owns and operates around 90 restaurants worldwide.
Good grief.
He married his wife, Tana, in 1996, and their firstborn came in 1998, and they just had their sixth child in 2023. Gordon has admittedly, at least as of 2006, never witnessed a birth of his child or changed a nappy. Apart from
don't love that.
But
he is very busy.
No, but that's not it. He's also very rich, and he's like, I don't have to change a nappy if I don't want to. But
I guess if your wife doesn't expect
his
it,
wife
then,
also didn't want him in the delivery room because he likes to take control. She wanted her mom. So
yeah, Gordon Ramsay energy in the delivery.
She didn't want it
in the delivery room. I don't think that's
she
really
didn't want
it.
He was like, he has taken a lot of shit for those two facts. But, like I said, he doesn't have to change a nappy if he doesn't want to. And, other than, a nappy. Other than those two kind of strange facts, he is a very hands-on, active parent. His kids were not spoiled nor neglected or abused. They get one Christmas present each, he said. And he also said that if they are naughty and won't share their toys get donated. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He has a very soft spot for children. You can see that very clearly on some of his TV shows, and for family, probably due to his challenging childhood. It has a very generous and caring heart. I don't know him personally, but I almost feel like I do from all of the Gordon Ramsay TV shows I watch. There's one, I can't remember what it's called, but he travels to other countries and goes up against people that are familiar with that country's cuisine, and they get judged by locals, sometimes even like the king. There was one place, and I don't know if it was the king, but it was some high up person and that show was so fun to binge, and he is so adventurous. He's been hurt a couple of times. One time he got hurt on Puffin Island, and I can't remember the other one, but I read about those in an article somewhere. But anyway,
I don't remember the name of that either, but that sounds cool.
It was a really good show, and there's not a lot of episodes of it, so it's easy to binge it. Uncharted. It's called Uncharted, and it is awesome. It's from National Geographic. He is passionate about what he does. He is passionate about other people, and sometimes passion causes him to shout. And I'm going to quote him again because his quotes are the best. Swearing is an industry language. For as long as we're alive, it's not going to change. You've got to be boisterous to get results. And he's gotten results. Michelin stars. He has held 18. His current number, according to Google, is 7. Because the restaurants hold them, not the chef. So if the restaurant is closed or whatever, so he has had
changes,
he has had up to 18 at one time.
So if you, like me, have never eaten at a Michelin star restaurant and you're curious about what the deal is with that, I looked it up. So here's some info on that real quick. Michelin stars are not based on customer reviews, but on undercover inspections by anonymous food experts known as the Michelin inspectors. Restaurant owners are not told when the inspection will take place, and an inspector may return around 3 to 6 times before reporting back to their fellow inspectors, who then come to a joint decision about whether or not to award stars. The record for the most Michelin stars is 32, held by Gordon's mentor, who he referred to as the Godfather of Michelin. And what the stars mean is 1 star is a very good restaurant in its category. 2 stars means excellent cooking worth a detour. And 3 stars means exceptional cuisine worth a special journey.
Wow.
So take a special trip just to go to that place. It's worth it. So that's pretty cool. And it's obviously a very illustrious thing. I cannot afford to eat at any of those places.
Actually,
I'm sure they're
you
good.
can. I was really surprised when a friend of mine went to New York and posted about eating at a 2-star Michelin star restaurant. It was like a sandwich joint. Like, it wasn't even expensive. I wish that I had thought to look it up before we recorded. But when she posted it was an upscale, expensive sandwich shop, but we could have afforded it. You know, like, it wasn't gonna break the bank.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if my favorite fancy restaurant in town has a Michelin star. They probably would tell you if they did.
Yeah. So I looked and I really couldn't find anything that was like, I worked for Gordon Ramsay and this is what I have to say, like, that I could consolidate. I did read some articles about some people who have worked for Gordon Ramsay, who have worked with Gordon Ramsay. One girl hated the chef, but loved it when Gordon came to visit because I
see.
So, and then, so I did see that someone said this: the reason that they make him look like an aggressive asshole is because that is what sells to the American audience. They want drama, extreme emotions, conflict, quick, flashy cuts with stupid sound effects. And for one last quote, actually from Gordon Ramsay, he also once said, "I'm Gordon Ramsay, for goodness sake. People know I'm volatile."
Yeah, that's his whole thing. But I have honestly never seen him get upset about something that didn't need to be gotten upset about.
Exactly.
You know, it's always like, this food is spoiled and you could kill someone. Or like, you did this wrong and you're not listening to me and I am putting so much effort into trying to help you and you are disregarding my advice and like disrespecting him. That, you know, I mean, I don't think I'd throw a plate across the room about it, but like, it's not that he's wrong. It's just that he's really loud about it. You know,
what you just said, I read over and over and over again in multiple different wordings while I was researching this. Exactly what you just said. He is just super passionate, and nobody that he yells at like that ever comes away with, "I hate Gordon Ramsay."
Yeah, it's usually just like emphatically trying to make sure that they never make that same mistake again because the stakes are high. If you don't become a chef if you can't handle a high pressure environment, because even if you're not being yelled at, it's a high pressure environment, period, being in a kitchen like that.
Yeah, and you got to hurry up and get it done right.
As they say on The Bear, every second counts. So I had the same idea about the way he's portrayed on American TV versus British TV. And so I decided to check out some of the UK episodes of his shows. And I watched an episode of Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares from British TV. And then I watched several more.
I have something to say about the Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares from UK. You go ahead and I'll tell you.
Oh, okay. I noticed in general that it was a much more mellow vibe than when you see him on like Hell's Kitchen or you know, whatever the shows are called, Kitchen Nightmares. And it was just less dramatic music, none of those crazy reality TV cuts, and the swearing was just like more casual swearing. It wasn't sensationalized for drama. There was, in the episode that I watched, a moment where he took the maitre d' out into a field and basically taught him how to yell at someone in their face and scream in their face and call them an idiot, which was kind of a hilarious Gordon Ramsay thing to do and probably not necessary. Like, that seemed like episode filler to me, you know? Whatever. Sometimes you got to do that.
Yeah, well, that's hilarious to me. And also, every time he yells, it's funny. I'm sorry. Yeah. He's hilarious.
But he was teaching the guy to be assertive. He was trying to get him to grow some balls, as he said, and like loudly say what he meant without being, you know, beaten around the bush. But it was just kind of made into a over the top scenario for TV. So even on this British one, there was stuff like that. Also in the same episode, though, Ramsay gave a talking piece to the feuding head chef and the manager. This was a different restaurant because there's like 2 restaurants in one episode. And he had them talk through their conflicts. Do you know what a talking piece is? So it's like just any object that when I'm holding it, it's my turn to talk. And then when I'm done, I hand it to you and you talk. And then when you're done, you hand it back to me so that we don't talk over each other.
We saw that on Big Bang Theory last night. Okay.
Yeah. And it's absolutely a technique that's used in therapy as well. We used it in school, in our like community circles that we had in our homeroom. We had a talking piece would pass around when the kids talked.
Okay.
So that's totally a legit leadership thing. He also later in that same episode used a team building exercise, and it was like more like a game to help the staff cooperate and communicate effectively. And those are both good boss behaviors, in my opinion. You know, I binge watched a couple more episodes from the UK Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares, and in general, they're just way less dramatic and over the top than any of the American shows I've seen him on. So there appears to be some truth to that, in my opinion. Well, but what were you going to say about this show?
He hated Kitchen Nightmares in the UK because those people were actors. They weren't acting, but they were quote unquote celebrities and not people who were like dying to become chefs. This is what he said in his book. And I think it was Kitchen Nightmares.
It doesn't sound like that though, because this was like, your restaurant's failing and I've come to help you. So these were just people that worked at the restaurant.
So maybe it was a different show. Because he did the same show here that he had done there. It was a competition show. So maybe it wasn't Kitchen Nightmares.
Was it Hell's Kitchen?
It was Hell's Kitchen.
Okay.
The Hell's Kitchen in the UK, he left and walked his ass home in his chef whites because he got fed up with the shitty celebrities who thought that they were, you know, and walked his ass home. And they called and they gave him some of his requests. Like he was like, it's got to be like this, 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 and this. And they finished the series. But then when Fox in the United States wanted him to come do it here, it was a completely different show. He liked it. He liked it much better over here.
Okay. Wow. Didn't know that. Anytime I've seen him like storm off, I don't disagree, you know, with him being mad.
Right.
So, yeah.
And it's I read somewhere, I don't remember if it was his book or if it was in one of these many articles, but he really only gets really out of control angry when his reputation is on the line.
Yeah. And I've seen other chefs feel that way too, because they've worked so hard to get where they are. And yeah,
he's not fucking around.
Well, let's talk about some nice stuff.
Oh, he's done so many nice stuffs. And just like, just from what I've seen, what I've witnessed, my husband and I sit there when we watch MasterChef and MasterChef Junior, and it's not just Gordon, the others do it too sometimes, but we're always like, when that guy gets kicked off, he's totally paying for him to go to school because he does that all the time. And that's really, really incredible. We have looked it up, and it's not just for the show. Like, and he's had people come back who he has put through culinary school, who he has put in one of his kitchens and given a job to, one of them, it was, I mean, I cried a little when he did this. There was a guy on the show. I don't remember his name. I don't remember anything about him other than he was taking care of his mom. And Gordon was like, I want you to go to culinary school. I don't want you to work while you're in culinary school. I'm going to take care of mom. And Gordon took care financially of this kid's mom while he went to school. And that is just like...
I don't believe you're an asshole if you do that.
No, you're not an asshole if you do that.
Like, an asshole would not do that.
No, an asshole would not do that. And also, you found this little tidbit, and I remembered it. He once offered to pay for a baker's 4-year college so he could open a bakery and only asked for a loaf of bread in return. And that's the kind of thing he says when he does these things on the show, when he says, I want to do this for you, and all I want in return is a meal at your restaurant, you know?
Yeah.
He's also known for other philanthropic efforts.
Yeah, there you go.
Philanthropic efforts. Did you see on our Facebook, Roxine make fun of me and the executrix? Did you see that?
I did, and then I went back to listen to it, and I was like, yeah, that was a moment. I liked it.
So anyway, Gordon Ramsay is known for his philanthropic efforts, particularly supporting children's charities. He actively works with organizations like Great Ormond Street Hospital Children's Charity, Make-A-Wish, and St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. He also has his own foundation, the Gordon and Tana Ramsay Foundation, which raises funds for GOSH.
That's the Children's
The
Hospital
Great
charity
Ormond
thing. Yeah.
Street Hospital.
It was a mouthful name of that charity, so I'm glad they shortened it.
To GOSH.
I will say, honest to gosh, I will say that I've noticed he does frequently call women sweetheart and other such things, which I don't personally love. But I also can't recall if anyone has ever said, like, hey, Gordon, could you please not call me that to him? Which is possibly because he's somewhat terrifying.
Or the accent, man. He could call me sweetheart. But
right.
I don't mind. You and I differ on that. I don't mind it.
It doesn't bother me for someone to say that to me unless they're like being gross about it.
Me
and
too.
hitting on me. Or if I can tell they're talking down to me, which he isn't. He's just kind of like in the South, we would say, here, sugar, would you hand me that thing? And it's just a thing. Like, I'm not trying to talk down to anyone.
I had a girl who called me darling every time she spoke to me. It drove me crazy. But there was a guy.
Did you say, would you please not call me that?
No, because it was her Southern thing, just like you just said. It was just like, but also he calls guys donkeys. So whatever.
I had a theater director one time who called everyone Irma because in the moment when she was talking to you, she couldn't remember your names. She just called you Irma.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she was a hoot.
I love that.
But anyway, like you can't disparage someone for calling women sweetheart if that woman doesn't then say, please don't call me that.
Yeah.
If she did and he continued to call her that, then I would have something to say about it. But that's up to her. Like, it doesn't bother me necessarily. Like I said, depends on the situation. But, he did make this comment, though, which I was like, okay, Gordon, don't be an asshole. It was during a clip of him on the Conan O'Brien show, and he was with Norm Macdonald, and they were doing a cooking segment, and Norm said something like, why did you become a cook? And Gordon's response was, the word is chef. Women are cooks. And the whole audience went, oh, and they booed him. And he was like, come on, I was kidding. He was like, Gordon, dude. Dude. I would have been slightly offended by that. But like, there are worse things to say, okay? Yeah. So anyway, what's our conclusion? Do we think he's really a bad boss?
I will never, ever, ever call him bad anything.
I mean, he's a badass.
He is a badass.
But I don't really think he's a bad boss.
And I can tell you this, too. Speaking of badass, he looks good in a pair of jeans. You don't see that very often. But when he was on that show in the other countries going and doing cooking stuff with those people with like and hunting their ingredients and stuff, he wasn't dressed the way he dresses on. He was pretty cash and he looks good in a pair of jeans.
All right. Give him credit for that. My major curiosity was, why do middle-aged women find him attractive? Because like there are some that are just so thirsty for him. Like, have you seen him on those Hotel Hell shows or whatever? And like, the mom of the guy that owns the hotel just comes up to him and she like hugs him and won't let go. Like, it's that kind of thing. And I don't understand that level of thirst.
He has gotten better with age. Like younger Gordon Ramsay, younger Gordon Ramsay, not as attractive as the older Gordon Ramsay. And it probably does have to do with his accent. And his status.
Yeah, he does have a great voice and a great
I'm not
accent.
sure that if Gordon Ramsay was just some regular Joe on the street that these moms would be, coming after him.
Well, he has, as the kids say, riz.
Oh, I would say swagger because I'm old.
Yes. Or big dick energy. He definitely has big dick energy. That is attractive. I get that. It's the energy of him. It's his aura.
It's
more
it's
than
his
because I don't think he's a particularly handsome man, but yeah, he's a kind person. He's good at what he does. He's passionate. And he has that, swagger, that confidence. Like, I could see it, but like, for me, the thirst is just not, I don't understand that level of thirst.
I get it. This week we have a very special listener story.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to tell you why it's so special. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm
All
ready.
right. This one's called About a Bad Boss. In the beginning, I admired Boss more than I can say. His cooking left me speechless. A lot of boys couldn't take the pace. Boss was running a dictatorship. It was his word and his word alone. He would abuse you mentally and physically. His mood swings were unbelievable. One minute, he was all smiles. The next, he was throwing a pan across the room. Boss was never in the wrong. If you didn't like that, you were more than welcome to walk out the door and take a job in another restaurant. The first time I saw Boss pummel a guy, I just stood there. Frank was physically beaten on the floor. Another time, famous person was in the restaurant. Frank had overcooked the kidneys, so Boss went fucking bananas. And that's when Boss said, "Those chef whites, those trousers, that's my fucking linen. You take them off and walk around in your underpants." So that's what the poor bastard did.
Oh, my
right?
God.
He bad boss, right? He ripped off his whites and trousers and was bawling his eyes out. And then he had to walk past the front of the restaurant half naked.
Why was that story so special?
That was actually an excerpt from Gordon's book. That was our
No
listener tale
kidding.
from Gordon Ramsay.
I liked how you just inserted, is there a listener in this bar?
Well, I highlighted his name and then I just changed it all to boss and listener. So as not to use
great.
real names. But I did take this
Yes.
from Gordon's book because obviously Gordon hasn't listened to us yet. But Gordon, if you're out
he
there,
really should.
We love you.
I have some thoughts about that. Okay, so it sounds like this chef that was his mentor was a narcissist. I'm just going to lay that out there.
Yeah.
Based on our checklist, I might consider him probably a narcissist. Although, again, I'm not diagnosing anybody. And it sounds like he may have been a sadistic narcissist, the kind that just gets off on abuse.
He was sadistic, no doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, because, like, there's no reason to do that.
These were kids.
Taking the guy's clothes so he had to walk home in his underwear.
Yeah, I think they were like 19, 20, 21 years old. They were very young.
That's unconscionable. That's bullshit. But why did he go back? Like, I wish that he had said, I wanted the story to end differently. I wanted the story to be, I walked out, went and got my friend, and then started our own fucking restaurant. Rather than going back to this person. Because, like, I recognize how much you learn sometimes from people and the amount of shit that you're willing to put up with. There's a formula for how much you're willing to put up with dependent on how much you're learning from them, right?
Well, and you absorb that too.
That's different for everyone.
So, like, he's absorbing that. He took it from his dad, which he said in that letter that he wrote to us. He said that the reason that he thinks he could take the bollockings is because of his dad. Yeah. And I mean, my mom has some traits that I overlook in other people because I can take those things because it's my mom. They're nothing like this, I mean, my mom doesn't suck like these people, but that's just an example that when what you know, which is why I said earlier, be a better example for your children so that they can be better examples for their children. Yeah.
Somebody's got to break the chain.
And I think in this case, he said his dad's abuse wasn't giving him anything. He wasn't taking anything away from his dad's abuse, but from this guy, he was taking valuable knowledge and lessons.
Yeah. It just could have been presented in a more supportive
way. Yeah, that motherfucker knew.
You know?
He knew that these people needed to learn from him. And so...
Yeah, he wouldn't have taken on apprentices and stuff.
Exactly. He knew.
So I always think about what they say about bullies is that they're just working through someone else who's bullied them and they're taking it out on you.
Yeah, there's always a reason.
But it doesn't ever
It
make
doesn't
it
excuse
it doesn't ever make it okay.
doesn't excuse it.
It doesn't, yeah. It just, the only thing that does is help for you, the victim of this bullying, to have some empathy for them so that you can rise above that situation. It does not make anything that they've done okay, and it does not make it excusable or anything like that. And there is not enough karma to balance that out, you know. It's just that, like, it helps you understand and to, like, judge them less, I guess.
Well, yes and no, because I do feel that.
Yeah.
I do feel bad for, like, Gordon was abused as a child. He could have grown up and been abusive himself, but he decided to make good of that. This guy, well, I mean, I can say who it is because we told you who wrote the damn thing. Marco White, I believe, was his name.
Okay.
He's up here in the
Well,
beginning.
how come I haven't heard of him and I have heard of Gordon
Because
Ramsay?
he's not on TV. See, that's the thing about chefs. Famous chefs are only famous if they're on TV or if we're in the culinary world.
Well, they're famous, like, in
right,
the chef
because we're not in the
community.
culinary world.
Yeah, I don't know who the hell
we don't
that
know
is.
who the hell Marco is. Marco Pierre White. He's from Harvey's in London. But Joël Robuchon was actually Gordon's mentor. And like I said earlier, he even once threw a plate of ravioli at Gordon.
Yeah. Well, shit.
They're just some food
right.
tossing motherfuckers.
Yeah, you know, it's not a food fight up in here, you guys.
I guess it is.
You ready for
I
a vocabulary
am.
word? Okay, the vocabulary word of the week comes to us from the audiobook that I am currently narrating because I had to look it up and I was like, ooh, that describes our friend Gordon Ramsay quite well. Yes, so the word
Thirst
is
trap?
stentorian. Thirst trap? I don't need that on my vocab list. I already know what that is. The word is stentorian. And I always ask Sean if he knows the vocabulary word, because if he doesn't, then I'm like, that's a legit obscure word. So yeah, stentorian, it is an adjective. It means extremely loud in voice.
Oh.
And the connotation is extremely loud in voice and also kind of a dick. Like, the definition is just loud. And it comes from the Greek herald Stentor. Oh. Who sounds like my D&D character's next name. Stentor was known for having a voice that came through loud and clear. In fact, in the Iliad, Homer described Stentor as a man whose voice was as loud as that of 50 men together. Stentor's powerful voice made him a natural choice for delivering announcements and proclamations to the assembled Greek army during the Trojan War, and it also made his name a byword for any person with a loud, strong voice. Like me. Nice. Although I hope I'm not kind of a dick when I yell. It's just loud. I have had many students who were like yelling at me and I was like, I promise you I can yell louder. That's not, if you want to have a fight about who's loud, I'm going to win. But like, that's not what we're doing here. So yeah, example sentence. Gordon Ramsay's stentorian tirades in the kitchen could sear the soul faster than the scallops he is yelling about. Yeah. But yeah, I like that one. Stentorian. Yes.
I know a few of those.
Extremely loud in voice.
I know a few of those. So I have a little game, a little two truths and a lie.
I'm excited.
All right. So these are insults Gordon Ramsay has used to describe dishes on his shows. All right.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait. Okay.
I'm going to try to do it in my Gordon Ramsay stentorian accent.
Yes. Yes.
I'm just trying to figure out this sauce. I'm not entirely sure, but I believe I would eat it on a roasted trainer.
A roasted trainer, as in
a sneaker.
A sneaker.
Yeah. Number two. All
right.
Are we making soup or are we trying to summon a demon? And the last one, which is my personal favorite. This squid is so undercooked, I could still hear it telling SpongeBob to fuck off.
was so good. That was so good. Okay. One of those is a lie,
One
though.
of those he did not say.
Okay. The SpongeBob one is too good. Are we making soup or are we trying to summon a demon?
I love that.
I'm going to guess it's number 2.
Was that number 2? I didn't read them in order.
Yeah.
So you're guessing that we're not trying to summon
I'm guessing
a demon.
it was the soup demon.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you're wrong.
I'm wrong.
It's the roasted trainer.
Oh.
Which actually, when I took that quote from a tweet or whatever I found it on, it did say sneaker. I had to change it to trainer to make it sound like it was Gordon.
Yeah. That was fun. So what my favorite one about SpongeBob? This squid is so undercooked that I can still hear it telling SpongeBob to fuck off.
Your short-term memory is quite amazing. You quoted all of those without me having to read them back to you.
Actor skills.
Impressive.
Amazing. Well done. Thank you for that. All right. Well, thanks so much, listeners, for listening.
Yes.
We're just 2 ladies who've never earned a Michelin star, but we have survived a few stentorian bosses, and in my case, a few stentorian stage moms out in the wild.
If you enjoyed today's episode, leave us a review. Share it with your favorite kitchen confidant. And remember, yelling about risotto is optional, but respecting your staff is not. Until next time, stay spicy and detox wisely.
Stay spicy.
Spicy, y'all.
Yeah, so if you guys want to, please follow our Facebook, Bad Boss Detox, and our Instagram, Bad Boss Detox Pod. If you want to share a listener story with us, our email address is stories@badbossdetox.com. You got that, Gordon? Stories, STORIES, at badbossdetox.com. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you have fun tonight at your show, Ivy.
Thank you. Me too. I am so glad that it is not winter, but I am not glad that it is at the football stadium. I'm wearing my Care Bears dress to see
That's
Metallica.
Perfect for the show,
and
the Metallica concert.
My crossbody Care Bears purse. So it's Hello Kitty. So Hello Kitty and Care Bears are going to see Metallica, and I'm in my 50s.
Yes,
so
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for
excellent.
you. All right, great. I'm gonna go eat something.
I'm gonna heat up leftovers and scarf them down before I have to get an Uber to downtown.
Well, all right. Be sure to join us next week when we will be talking about multi-level marketing, or MLMs. They've been around for way too long, and we're going to break down some of the worst tactics they've got going on. So be sure to join us next time. See you then.